Hi, and welcome to Live Loved. I'm Amy Hirsch, and I'm here with Julie White, and we are weighing in on a hot topic today because, as luck would have it, motherhood has become center stage in the culture war after a certain NFL star decided to weigh in on the topic by extolling the virtues of motherhood during a commencement speech. I'm sure you've heard about this, Julie.
Yep.
Here's what happened. So the kicker for the Super Bowl winning champions, Kansas City Chiefs, Harrison Butker, gave a speech at a Catholic college just last week. And in it, he talked about the dignity of life, masculinity, and the most important role of all, according to him, which he says is motherhood. Here's what he said. I have a copy of his speech. Let me just read a little bit of this, and then we can get into it. We're going to unpack this today. We're going to also talk about the bigger war on women and look to what the word says as to why this is such a heated debate for all of us here, especially in the Western culture. So here's what this guy said. He said, for the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you've achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you.
Mm.
Isn't that powerful?
Yes.
Okay, so
Wow.
then he goes on to say,
Yep.
how many of you sitting here now about to cross the stage and are thinking about all of the promotions and the titles you're going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful white wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and a mother. Then he goes on to say, he honors his wife for a little while
Yeah.
there. He goes on to say this, and I'll wrap this up after this. He says, I say all of this to you because I have seen it firsthand how much happier someone can be when they disregard the outside noise and move closer and closer to God's will in their life. Isabel's dream of having a career might not have come true, but if you asked her today if she has any regrets on her decision, she would laugh out loud without hesitation and say, heck no. So this has
Wow.
ignited a firestorm in the media.
Yeah.
Thousands of people are now calling for Butker's release
Mm.
from his position on the team. And it's just really gotten ugly out there, Julie. But I guess we shouldn't be surprised because, as you say, and as you've written about in your book, Redeeming Eve When a Woman Lives Love, Satan has a special kind of hate for women, especially because we can give and nurture life.
Absolutely. Yeah. As you were reading his speech, I had two like competing voices right here because I've heard those voices my whole life,
Yeah.
right? I
Oh,
mean,
me
the
too.
huge question is why? Why were people so offended or upset? And I think it's kind of that overreaction and underreaction. I sit there and I think
Yeah.
women have fought to be seen and heard and seen as capable and competent in other arenas, especially whether it's intellectual or the ability to hold certain jobs, all those things. So been this whole fight to say, guess what? Women are smart enough to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that um saying that, but the overreaction to kind of trying to be equal but different, still having equality and value and all those things, we have overreacted to say that any traditional role, the traditional femininity, motherhood, womanhood, marriage, raising a family, even the value of children this goes into is somehow undesirable or less. And at that root, I mean, there's other people speaking on this. We just watched and shout out to Lisa Bevere, love her. And she had just talked about that women have been told they have to show up like men to have equal value. We are equally valuable, but we don't have to show up like men. But we, in our generation, Amy, I think we were told you
Sure.
have to show up, and traditional feminine characteristics are not wanted at the boardroom. Don't be emotional. So whether it's the boardroom, I mean, in the crazy days we live in, the bathroom, or sports arenas or whatever, we're being told we have to show up like men to be equal to men. And I'm not at all disputing equal value. We have equal value. We should have equal rights. We should be able to equally contribute, all those things, but we are still different as men and women, and not different in our value, but different in our nature, and actually different in our strengths. And praise God for that. There's a great complement of strengths
Yes.
that come together.
By
Yeah,
design.
by design. Absolutely.
So I know you've written about this in your book, Julie, about how this really starts this fight, this battle that we see playing out right now in
Yeah.
culture really goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden
Yeah.
when God put enmity
Yeah.
between Satan and the daughters of Eve or Eve. I would
Yeah.
love for you to kind of go into that because I think it helps kind of lay the foundation for
Sure.
why there is such a vitriol when it
Yeah.
comes to femininity and embracing our femininity and the value of nurturing life, of bringing life and nurturing life, why it's been constantly diminished over the years.
Yeah, we see it starting all the way back in Genesis. And so the truth is, what the Bible says, what God says, is He created them male and female,
Mhm.
uniquely male, uniquely female, and both were created in the image of Almighty God. So both men and women carry in their image bearers of some of the nature of God. And it is this nature of women that Satan opposes, is afraid of, and wants to shut down, kill, steal, and destroy.
Mhm.
And if you look at culture, we have seen women fight to be seen and heard in every culture,
Mhm.
every time frame, from, you know, early, 1100s to present
Yeah.
day around the world, different religions. Christianity is not uh, excluded from this fight. We see women shut down. One of the things on that same podcast that Lisa Bevere had said was culture has sexualized women and the church has silenced them. And I want to say, like, when I was writing Redeeming Eve, I was looking for little pencil drawings of women to kind of showcase or like be able to look at, oh, this is who I imagine Sarah to be, or Leah, or Rachel, or Abigail. And I just wanted like a little head drawing of different women's faces so that I could kind of pull out a woman who sort of reflected the character of the women that I was writing about. And it was amazingly curious because when I Googled this, there were two main categories of drawings of women that came up on the internet. They were either hyper sexualized, like seductive and just kind of like that wanton woman, or they were like witchy. They were evil. They had this, like the
Uh-huh.
evil princess. And
Sure.
I was like, oh, are those my two choices? I'm either the wanton woman or the witch.
Right.
If a woman has strength or is powerful in any way or walks in strength, she's a controlling evil witch.
Mhm.
And if she's soft in any way, she's just a wanton seductress. So
Mm.
thank you, Google,
But
internet. for telling me that those are my two choices, you know? And so what the Bible really is so affirming, and Jesus affirms it over and over, the dignity of women, the character, the nurture nature that we carry, the blessedness of being able to have a nurture mother nature, to be the mother of the living.
Mhm.
But there has been a war on women to shut down their contribution, to silence their voice, and to neutralize that godly influence, whether it's in marriage or ministry or the world or the media. I mean, it's quite amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's obviously we see it playing out in the news every day, whether it's a controversy about, I know you've seen these videos of trying to normalize men giving birth to women.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Now, have you seen these? Have you seen these out on
I
social media?
I I saw a single photo and I was like, what? I mean, I was just
It's
like,
so disturbing to me
no,
because
that doesn't work,
this
boys.
is not normal. I mean, I know that this is not the popular
Sure.
um thing to say right now, but it is not normal. I saw a video that was circulating that had staged this scenario where he was in the hospital and he was, had his shirt off, but he was all made up in makeup. And they laid the baby, on his chest as if he had just given birth to this baby. And, he joked about the baby urinating on him. It was such an affront to the sacredness of
Yeah.
giving birth. And the stories can go on and on, whether it's, the men in bathrooms or men uh playing in women's sports. And
Yeah.
then as women, we're not supposed to push back on that. We're
Mhm.
supposed to stay silent, accept it, not only just accept it, but outwardly promote it. um
Yeah.
that is the acceptable thing right now in culture, is to promote that, to edify that. And meanwhile, it diminishes what makes us special, what our contribution to the world.
Yeah.
um and as someone who has struggled with feeling diminished, because, Julia, I've shared where, in my late 20s, I became a mother for the first time, and I was really at a crossroads where I had a big career. I worked in broadcast news. I was on an upward trajectory. And because of my past of growing up in a home where my mother couldn't be present due to a mental illness, there was such a void that was left
Mhm.
by her absence in my life and my siblings' life, that, when I was at this crossroads of having to make this decision of, do I go all in and be there for my kids, or do I choose what, the world says is what I'm supposed to pursue? I wrestled, and I
Yeah.
and I chose the path of motherhood because I wanted a better life and experience for my kids. But but I got a lot of backlash from
Yeah.
people who were close to me, people who I loved, people who felt like that was the wrong decision. And I struggled with that feeling of shame, unworthiness. Did I make the right decision? Who am I? Who am I
Mhm.
now that
Yeah.
I don't have the label, the title, the career, and really kind of going into that place of working with God and letting Him help me shake off the opinions of others, and yield. That this
Yep.
yielding your life so that you can improve someone else's. Uh,
Yeah.
that seems to be a lost art.
Yeah.
for lack
And
of a
I
better
mean,
word.
and we grew up in the same scenario of all the mixed messages. I mean, I remember being in that same place of even the stay-at-home or working mom, not just being a mom, but if you were a mom, it's like, is the value, should I be home with my young children
Mhm.
or should I be working? And it did, I mean, I remember feeling I could not win.
Yeah.
It just depended on who you talk to. You talk to this relative and, you're selfish if you wanna work, and you talk to this person and you're wasting your life and lazy if you wanna stay home, as if taking care of little kids is the job for the lazy. I mean, hello, people. If you
Right.
think do it for a day. Do it
Mhm.
well. Don't stick a child in front of a TV and you sit on your phone.
Yeah.
Actually engage young children, teach them, love them,
Mhm.
monitor them, help them learn and engage the world, and tell me if that's a job for the lazy. You know what I mean? I just remember
Totally.
hearing things like that,
Yeah.
and like if you were a stay-at-home mom, you're just, I don't know, sitting on your couch eating bonbons or something. I was like,
Yeah.
until you become a mom and you're like, okay, this is everything. You are a CEO, you are a chef, you're a organizer, I mean, all the things. And so I think elevating that role of motherhood as a huge option. The reason Satan hates it is because cultures and kingdoms rest on motherhood.
Ooh.
In the Bible, it talks about, every king in the Old Testament, it's like King Ahaz, became king, was king this many years. And then it says whether he served the Lord or not. It's either he served him faithfully or he was unfaithful to the Lord and did more evil in the eyes of everything. And then the very next caveat of that sentence is, and his mother's name was. It's
Mm.
curious to me that the character of the king was attributed to who his mother was. Who was the person who nurtured that king? Because your mother is your actual first experience of relationship. Every single person, their first relationship is with their mother because it begins in the mother's womb.
Mhm.
The woman carries the baby for 9 months. And
Mhm.
so it is a formative relationship. And women, what they nurture will grow. This is that nurture nature of women. What we nurture will grow. So be careful what you sow, right? And we can nurture faith in God. We can nurture fear. We can nurture courage and trust. We can nurture resentment.
Yeah.
Like whatever we nurture, and we can nurture children. We can nurture a cause. We can nurture a business. We can nurture a mission. We can nurture a marriage,
We can
but
nurture self-obsession.
yes, we can nurture conceit, vanity. I mean, we can nurture just anything, but what a woman nurtures will grow. And so we are huge stewards of that nurture nature.
Mhm.
And uh, it's it's a very holy and a very powerful strength that we have that is being diminished, but we still have it. And the enemy wants to destroy it, shut it down, or direct it into nurturing offense, nurturing a victim mentality. I mean, women have a strong influence for better or for worse in any environment you see
Yeah.
them showing up in.
What I think is really interesting is that, whether you choose career or mother, it's like it's almost the choice, the option. Like
Yeah.
it's needs to be totally killed and shut down. The option of motherhood, I think, is what really seems to be under attack
Mhm.
because it's
Like
okay.
it's not a valid choice.
Yes, like it's
Yeah.
not a valid choice at all. Um,
Hmm.
so if you do choose that, it's you are under scrutiny. You face uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, just that vitriol almost
Yeah.
in our culture. And I feel like it's made me, we were talking about this before the show. I have
Yeah.
been so encouraged to see as these voices come forth,
Mm-hmm.
uplifting motherhood,
Yeah.
restoring the honor to motherhood. It's like so many voices over the last week.
Yeah.
It's like that's how you know that this is the heart of the Father, the heart of
Yeah.
God, because all of a sudden you hear all of these voices streaming forth this same message of, motherhood is honorable and valued, and it's being lifted from a position that's been diminished
Yeah.
to now God, I believe he is raising a standard
Yeah.
against that enemy
Yeah.
attack, where it is being raised up to a position of honor and strength
Yeah.
again. And I
Yeah.
believe that is where we are heading. I believe
Mm-hmm.
that many voices need to speak out,
Mm-hmm.
speak up, be courageous, and just simply share. Because I think there is courage in numbers, and I feel like
Yeah.
as more women stand up and say, you know what, I did choose this, and it has made me happy, and it has brought me wholeness. Um, I just think
Not
that's
that there's
so
not,
very
I mean,
healthy.
it's just if we say women want freedom, then let us be
Yes.
free.
Yeah.
For goodness sakes, let me be free to
Yes.
choose what I want. Let me be free to be married if I want to be married. Let me be free to have children. Let me be free to minister or to work if I want to work. Give me the freedom
Yes.
to find what's the right balance of all of that for me, my family, my calling, my gifting. And it isn't, we have made it like it's this big either or, like you, and I don't mean only a mother, because that's the whole lie in that, right? If you
Mhm.
parent your kids, that somehow you're not doing all these other important things.
Mhm.
And it's like this role is important,
Mhm.
right? It is shaping the next generation. And there's other outlets you can also do, and it's not just we're not just trying to lift up motherhood again as a honorable profession or choice, right? It's even lifting up back to that womanhood, the femininity, that it is okay to be a woman. And
Yes.
I disciple a lot of young girls. I have young girls. I had a woman up here recently at our camp in Colorado, and the angst, what she, I was trying to process with her, what is going on here? She's successful in a career, she's young, she's beautiful, she had a significant relationship, it's over. And at the end of it, it was like, what's really bothering you? And what it boiled down to was her heart's desire. Is she said, I know I'm successful. I know I have this whole thing going. It's lucrative, it's all these things. But in my heart of hearts, my dream was to be married and to have kids.
Mm.
And she's like, and I don't even feel like in my generation that that's one of my choices.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I was like, you know what? That is robbing young women of the ability to even look at that as a pursuit. And they are also being forced to, you have to have a career to sustain yourself as a young adult if you're single. For
Mhm.
sure, if you're single. So there's this pressure on women to become something, to be self-supporting in a career. And I mean, to be honest, as a society, we are still not at that equal level. The same job opportunity, entry level job, we cannot honestly sit here and say equal pay for equal work.
Mhm.
That's what it should be, but
Mhm.
that's not happening. So there's this pressure on young women to live and take on equal responsibility that men do, but they are not given equal opportunity and equal pay, even just on that. And then you look at the relational level, and being able to say, what I really want is to focus on my family for this season of my life. or focus on my young children. Like somehow that it's mocked.
I wonder how many young women out there who feel that way, but
Mhm.
feel like they are muzzled
Yeah.
or publicly shamed if they
Mm.
were to say that, or they fear the disappointment coming at them if somehow, they're not making a worthy choice. But I do appreciate, that's why I do appreciate people coming forward right now
Yeah.
and giving them back that option and,
Yeah.
pointing to the worthiness of it. I love, as I was digging into this story about Harrison Butker, I think this would be a great way to conclude
Yeah.
today's discussion. But, you know, while the media would have us believe that a lot of people are against him,
Yeah.
the
This is so
facts don't
great.
really support that,
I know.
because
Yeah.
right now his jersey, number 7, I love that it's number 7
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs, his jersey is the number 1 selling. That's above the very popular Travis Kelce and
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes. Um, Harrison Butker's jersey is selling more than theirs right now.
Mm.
And a lot of people are coming out in support of him, including the daughter and the wife of the Kansas City Chiefs owner. And I
Nice.
just thought I would share some quotes from them because I thought they were so beautifully expressed. Um,
Yeah.
and again, if you're out there and you are like me and just thirsty for people to come out and speak
Yeah.
boldly in support of honoring mothers, like,
Sure.
everything, whatever you choose or don't choose, but can we all agree that motherhood is a position that deserves honor and respect?
Yeah.
So let me just read to you what Gracie Hunt, who's the daughter of the Chiefs owner, came out and said. I can only speak from my own experience. I had the most incredible mom who had the ability to stay home and be with us as kids growing up. I understand that there are many women out there who can't make that decision, but for me and my life, I know it was really formative in shaping me and my siblings to be who we are.
Mm.
And then the wife, Tavia, I think it's pronounced, came
Yeah.
out. She posted on social media that she believes that finding a spouse and raising a family is one of the greatest blessings this world has to offer. I've always encouraged my daughters to be highly educated and chase their dreams. I want them to know that they can do whatever they want that honors God. But I also want them to know that I believe finding a spouse who loves and honors you as or before himself and raising a family together is one of the greatest blessings this world has to offer. Studies
Mm.
show that committed married couples with children are the happiest demographic, and this has been my experience as well. Affirming motherhood and praising your wife, as well as highlighting the sacrifice and dedication it takes to be a mother, is not bigoted. It is empowering to acknowledge that a woman's hard work in raising children is not in vain.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's beautiful.
isn't that so beautiful?
Yeah.
I know, I'm excited. It is an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah.
um, as things are shifting. And I think this debate has needed to happen for a really long time.
Yeah. For sure.
And um, I just hope that it's the beginning of the change of giving women the honor due them for who they are and the special life-giving uh, ability they have that
Yeah.
cannot be imitated, replaced,
Mm-hmm.
diminished, under valued.
Yeah.
Um, women,
Embrace their mother nature. I
yes,
want to conclude with one
yes.
20-second thought on
Mhm.
this is that your mother nature is not, in my testimony last week shared it, it is not limited to natural childbearing.
Mm.
And so, I mean, if you are a woman in a different space, you're single, you can't have children or something, you can embrace that mother nurture nature
Mhm.
and nurture the thing, the ministry, the cause, the people that God has brought to you.
Yes.
And that begins, though, if you do have children, it needs to begin at home. Nurture your family.
Amen. And we're going
Amen.
to get into that more next week on next week podcasts when we talk about that nurture nature. And we're going to talk about Eve, the mother of the living, and how we are created to be the mother of the living. So, Julie, you're going to have a great teaching on that. So join us next week. Thank you so much for letting us weigh in on this
Yep.
topic. We hope that it encouraged you. Have a great week, and we'll see you right back here next week for another Live, Love,